poll shows Hillary Clinton in the driver's seat for one very important voting bloc. According to the latest Quinnipiac poll, Clinton has a significant lead with millennial voters, those people between the ages of 18 and 34. Her numbers nearly double those of Donald Trump's with that generation. Joining me right now is Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, who is Hillary Clinton's supporter. Good to see you, Governor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Does that poll ring true to you? What are you seeing in Colorado in terms of that young generation?
You know, I think it does ring true, and we've been, the last 8 or 10 years, we've been one of the top destinations for in-migration from millennials. And they are kind of more mission-driven in their lives, not just their business, but their lives, and idealistic, and they support kind of that selflessness. And I think with Hillary and Donald Trump, there's a pretty stark contrast there in terms of ego versus service. You know,
I mean, obviously they want jobs, they want a strong economy, but the skeptics of Hillary Clinton continue to say that her economic plan does not show a road to economic growth. Do you see that road to economic growth? Because when you look at what Trump is doing, lowering taxes, rolling back regulations, you can see a path toward perhaps moving the needle on economic growth. But Hillary Clinton wanting to raise wages, raise taxes, where's the path to economic growth?
No, I see Hillary with a strong path to economic growth. I mean, she's already got plans and laid out how to cut red tape and bureaucracy. She's talked to entrepreneurs all over the country in terms of how to help them start up, and not only start up, but grow their businesses. I think her focus is, with small businesses, and how do you get more small businesses going? And maybe she's not going to, the large banks are not a primary focus of her.
Right. Well, the small business, though, are going to see their taxes go up, because if you're raising taxes on the highest earners, that's going to mean higher taxes for small business. So, again, I get to the same place knowing that they're going to have to pay higher minimum wage and higher taxes.
I'd argue against that, and I think that is I understand what you're saying, but the bottom line is if you get all these businesses starting and growing, this is what we're seeing in Colorado. Our unemployment is down in some parts of the state under 3%, and it's just job creation. And at that level, when you're starting all those businesses, what really matters is red tape and access to capital. And those are two things she's really working on getting rid of, right? Getting rid of the red tape and make sure you have more access to capital.
Governor, I want to ask you about that red tape as it relates to Obamacare. Very good op-ed in the Journal yesterday about the post-Obamacare preview in Colorado. Premiums across the state expected to rise 20.4% on average next year. Some have concluded that the solution is more central planners with a doubling down on Obamacare. ColoradoCare, you oppose this.
Well, I oppose it. A lot of us out in Colorado oppose it. I think we've got to, obviously for the last 30 years, health care costs have continued to rise every year, almost every year, double digits. And I think now is the time not to throw out everything and start all over again. I think we've got to figure out what the solution to that is. And I think having, a single-payer system, however idealistic and well-intentioned, isn't the solution at this point. I think last poll I saw, it's down about 75 to 25. I think it's going to lose significantly in the polls.
And the best independent study on single payer was Vermont, which of course abandoned the idea back in 2014. The governor there, basically a Democrat, by the way, dumped his signature campaign issue once he figured out that it would require an 11.5% payroll tax and an individual levy as high as 9.5%. But isn't that what Hillary Clinton wants to do? She wants to go to a single payer system.
No, I don't think so. I think she wants to have a public option. And I think if you look at it, part of the problem we're having is people with pre-existing conditions can now get insurance. Now, and that's almost everyone agrees that that's a good idea. The problem is that a lot of people who have serious medical conditions are, opting out, not paying not joining and paying for health care until all of a sudden they have a medical emergency. Then they sign up, they have to be covered, they get their medical treatment, and then they go off again. So they're kind of gaming the system, and we've really got to figure out how to address that.
So how do you address it, Governor? What would you like to see, given that what we're looking at right now in terms of this proposal to mimic Obamacare with ColoradoCare?
Well, I think obviously that there's got to be some people that are cycling on and off. There's got to be some consequence. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing it and as I said, gaming the system. So perhaps there's some long delay. They've got to feel some risk or some consequence if they continue this behavior that really is cheating the rest of us.
Yep. Governor, a lot of speculation that should Hillary Clinton become our next president, you will have a role in her administration. Are you expecting to have a role in Hillary Clinton's administration?
Well, I'm going to give her all the best advice I can from Colorado, that's for sure. And I do think, I think she is so well prepared. I spent a fair amount of time with her in June and July. I've never met anyone who knows policy at more depth and knows more detail than she does. And I think, we might disagree. I think she's going to be a great president. I really do.
And what role will you have?
Oh, I think I'm going to stay as the governor in Colorado. I think part of what she needs is to have strong support all over the country and have a chance to bring Republicans and Democrats together. And we do that pretty well in Colorado. I think we can be a great model for her.
Do you see the kind of enthusiasm? I know millennials, you said, are all in for Hillary, but are they going to come out and vote?
Well, that's always a question with young people. It's been, back when I was a baby boomer as a kid, they said the same thing about us. I think they are going to come out and vote. And I think it's been a little, their enthusiasm wasn't there a couple months ago. But now everywhere I go, I see more young people and I see more energy. They're fired up. So I think they are going to vote.
All right. We will leave it there and we'll be watching. Governor, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks so much.
You bet. Thanks, Maria.